Blessing, welcome forward to Reasonings right here at the Tree of Life. I'm your host, the Great Owl, Jerome Sage Butler, at home, up in the mountains, Blue Mountain, Jamaica, sharing another modicum of information, to those who would like to hear and share the experience of this information, in your own lives, and also researching it in the lives of others as well, too, because you know what, we don't own this information. It is the very nature of what's explicable, but we got to get into it, you know what I mean, to find the very core of its old structures, right? And that's how we find ourselves, by finding out what really is happening. Because people always say we're in this darkness and we don't know how we got into this darkness. So in this particular offering, we're going to examine how it is that we really got into this darkness, in the sense of what is this darkness and how do we get out of this darkness. And I'm starting that way, but I'm going completely opposite. So here goes. The light overcometh all darkness, and in the light there is no darkness. And we'll continue, we'll forward on that point. The essence of in the light there's no darkness. The source of our being is a light. The light is that wavelength, that frequency, the origination of which is manifestation, or we can visually see things, experience things. Why there is a living being. It is a light being. You understand? And this light body comes from the source of all lights, the source of the tree of life. Hallelujah. The source of all life is in the lights, the divine light, the source of being. And this light comes to us in the electromagnetic and the electrotonal, photogenic frequencies of not just visual perception, but the electromagnetic perception of frequencies, right? They are light bands and waves of sound, which is electrical, tonal, which is sound and light, electrotonal, electromagnetic. We've got spectrums of light frequencies interwoven with the magnetites in our body. It's a magnetic magnosphere. We are a electric being, electric light body. And this electric light is the celestial light. And the celestial light is the master of all life. And in that light there is no darkness. However, there is another light of which is confusing the people. These light bearers, and boy, they're around me a lot, and I'm beginning to get so upset with their presence, just mimicry of the living spirit of Christ, Hamashiach. So this one is to recount and to remove some deceptive personalities who are really some dark light bearers. The celestial lights and the source thereof through Yeshua Mashiach is not the atomic light of fission and fusion. This fission, energy, homogeneous energy source dichotomy, dissecting of the actual state, the native state of the electrical light frequencies, and the electromagnetic and electrotonal, the particle, particle, and particum, the frequencies pre-atomic matter. These light frequencies of the photon, photogen, the rod cells in the eyes, the electromagnetites in the body, is activated through celestial lights. Atomic light is a bridging of the frequency. So the atomic light, the light of Lucifer, fallen light bearer, so to speak, is antimatter, dark frequency of light spectrum that is a fire burning, uncontrollable. That's why the pit of hell is a all-consuming, burning space of eternal fire, right? Because that fire is an atomic fire, an uncontrolled fire that cannot be managed, mastered, or manifest into light beings. It cannot, from its unstable state of chaotic confusion, create anything ordered and designed from the most intricate of light frequencies and patterns to create the human, the humanoid, the human, the human, the hue manifestation. Atomic fire, celestial fire. Atomic fire, destructive fire. Fire of ego, not fire of spirit, not light of spirit. Fire of ego. uncontrollable fire, sporadic, satanic, Luciferanic. It is not brilliance, it is lunacy, it is madness, it is psychotic, dystopic manifestations of unnatural spiritual light beams and their frequency bands. Many of our ancient civilization, through the fall of the celestial lights in man, when man depreciated because of being enticed to mess around with atomic fire, and see that from atomic fire man could smelt iron, and man could reconfigure the light-based photogen in the electrotonal, that is celestial fire, that is celestial light, trying to mess around those bandwidths and reconfigure. They couldn't destroy, but they reconfigured this mechanical. There you got them, sheets of zinc, right? Yeah, they're reconfigured into this metallurgical orifice, and the masters thereof are the head and the most venerated of these dark orders from the Tubal Cains of this subjective awakening or darkening of their spirits, because they got enticed by atomic fire, Inakiwan magic, mysteries of the Luth Gate, so caught up in conjuring and projecting this destructive element, which is the sin the Bible speaks of, by the way, because it is the darkness, which is the antimatter of the actual matter, which is a specific bandwidth frequency of the electrotonal, electromagnetic light spectrum, which is through Yahshua Mashiach, the light of our being that is not burning with an unnatural soot. It burns sootless because it is the most highest configuration of energy frequency. It is source of all energy. And the chaotic atomic fire frequencies are unstable in all their ways. And that is why when people begin to work with them, they have to be so cerned up with all these suits, radiation suits. That is because the light frequencies are oscillating at such a dangerous bandwidth, it can literally destroy or poison, yeah, where we call the carcinogenic poison, where it begins to burn the cells, the cellular makeup from within the astral body, and such individual ends up with literally burns in internal organs, coming to us as cancers and all manner of degenerative illnesses, because the atomic fire of which they have taken into themselves, the antimatter, which is the sin, the filthy, unclean spirit of Lucifer that they have taken unto themselves, has making them filthy, unclean. The energy frequencies has made them radioactive, and they lose their hair and lose a whole lot of the elements that hold together the quintupulation of the human frequency, that is the human, the hue manifestation, the human, right? The atomic fires are reaching a catalyst in their whole developmental psychologists, because for years they've been working to contain and to contact and to contain, contact and to quantify their ability to produce antimatter, to open portals, to go into dimensions and use antimatter as a way of building an ungodly regime. This plane will burn in darkness because that fire is unstable. Very, very unstable. It is not even likened unto the sun. Hey, I hear that a lot of people think light worshipping in the atomic sense is about sun worshipping. You gotta be crazy. That's a guise. The sun is a contained fire source coming from celestial fire. It isn't the source of celestial fire, but it burns in the elemental origins of source, right? It has specific designs that cannot be altered by any external or internal forces. So, not even the sun is the source of this dark fire. It is the atomic essence that is in the uncontrollable element of this dark fire, which is likened unto the pits of hell, the abyss. Remember, the Most High created us from the form and the void of this plane, which was chaotic dark energy. Jesu, Kotari Baba, destructive dark energy. And so that destructive dark energy that was upon this plane was repelled by the light of being, the master of lights, yeah, which is the source, hey you, of the tree of life, hallelujah, came and brought order out of this chaotic reality, constructing a home for the humanids, the light beings, Nikibu and Kadmun, Sosori Baba. So glory unto Yahuwah Yahweh, titles representing the supreme lights, for in the Most High there is no night, there is no darkness, there is no dark there. And here we come to the next level of this atomic deception. These atomic deceivers in metaphysics are in these occultic sciences where they talk about so above, so below. Sorry. In the world of celestial lights, it is not completely as it is in this world. The world of celestial lights where dwell the giver of the light, the frequency bandwidths are far beyond measure, are far incomparable to anything on this plane. So no, not so above, so below. Occultic sciences of trying to harmonize light and shadow, talking about yin and yang. You're wrong. There is no quintuplated balance between light and shadow. For those who worship, better worship in light and truth. Be a being of absolute radiance that is not radiation that comes from atomic fire, but comes from celestial fire, which is the light of His presence within your being, which makes you a living being. Hallelujah. So, these occultic sciences talking about yin and yang and light mixed with shadow, trying to simulate that consciousness as the perceptivity of this night and day oscillation of energy. For night still has the light of the heavens in the stars and in the highest sequence, the moon. So night isn't absent of light. So please get that out of your mind, that the night of the actual metamorphic experience is eternal night, is eternal dark rather. That is not the case. It is not eternal dark, because night is possessed of light. And such, because night is possessed of light, still ruled by the celestial lights and the master thereof, giving them their duty in this metamorphic universe to manifest his power in the maintenance of the celestial light bandwidth and its spectrum manifestations. Hallelujah. And this plane, miscalled planet, dimension of being. Now, the atomic fire, the fire of the fallen seraphim, the fallen star, that uncontrollable fire that burns and consumes without care. It is a suction of energy. It wants to drain us of our divine spark to fuel its unholy regime, because that atomic fire, through fission and fusion, is seeking to suck the celestial fire which burns soothless in a respiritu pneumatic, the spirit, the breath. It burns soothless through the furnaces and the chimney. It oscillates, vibrates, and resonates without a disturbing aura or energy or output. It is disturbed by atomic fire, conjuring, kindling, spirit cookings, things that are set to destroy the sanctity of the celestial lights. And so you have people who go around talking about there is no God and there is no this and it's just light and dark. That's satanic philosophy, and they're amongst us very much, believe me. And isn't it strange? The first manifestation I have noticed in these ungodly individuals in their pronouncements, when they're talking about this atomic idea of life that is not real. they always come against Christians and they always come against followers of the living God by saying there is no God, Hashem. There is no Yeshua, there is no Jesus. They have tons of placating information to try to discredit those who follow the living spirit. Ask yourself, if it's just lies and confusion, why is it that the first target, hallelujah, of these ungodly beings when they're taking Lucifer's atomic consciousness of this sinful antimatter frequency unto themselves, which is self-destructive, why is it the first thing they do is try to renounce, hallelujah, source of God? Why they try to renounce God as source? Why they try to renounce Yahshua Mashiach, source of light? Why do they try to renounce Yahuwah Yahweh, living God, Daddy? Why is it they try to present atomic occultic information as actual science, which means study of nature, which is the netters, the way in which our Creator constructed the laws of the celestial to maintain the template rooting of the terrestrial? So all these terrestrial atomic manipulated fire sequences in egoic man trying to talk about God and devil is a mere electrical signal in perception, and so trying to placate this atomic fire false light as being celestial light, Torah Baba, and then trying to suggest to us the metamorphic light frequency, right, that burns in electrons before us. The sun is the symbol of its atomic energy and is its manifestation of the source of its being, which is an absolute hole of crack, because the fire in which they're talking about supersedes and predated the sun of Shamash, the fire of Shamash, Sheru, which is under celestial fire, not atomic fire. The sun does not burn us unholy into a crisp and destroy us. It maintains the bandwidth, the photon frequency, which energizes the life energies of the electromagnetic, the magnetites in the body that causes movement, the bipedal push and pull, the entangled spirals. That is the breath of breathe in. Hold it, it is one sequence. Breathe out, it's the other sequence. The 6 and 9 entangled symbology. It's the atomic frequency of one spectrum over superseded by the celestial frequency, which is the one that gives energy to the spiral. So if the spirit of his presence isn't within us, we cannot breathe. We cannot take unto ourselves even the dark stuff that is misleading us. So even though the atomic age and its sciences are upon us, which is really occultic sciences pervading as actual sciences, it is not true. It is unbalanced, highly biased, and there's no God in them. And that light that they're talking about is a fire that burns uncontrollably, just unto the pit of hell, Kharshuniyabi. So be not deceived. Even when they're coming close and pretending, their symbology and symbolism is antichrist, it's ungodly. Light and shadow is not unified as the source of being, because there is no shadow, there's no darkness in him, there's none. And the misperception of equating eternal darkness to the light of night, to the dark of night rather, is a misperception, because night has light. So don't ever be caught up thinking that God rests in some triple darkness, sorry, as some dumbs love to speak about, because they're satanic and they're reading from satanic manuals, no matter if it's 10,000 years old or 100,000 years old. Yeah, it's same satanic, no matter if it's Tubal Cain's information, it's same satanic and demonic. And no matter how much pastors, priests, politicians, and all these esteemed creatures who are telling to look up, and what are they looking for? The temple of God. The entranceway is within, hallelujah, the human heart, the human spectrum, the human spirit. And rather than just being ignorant to this fact, by coalescing to atomic information, I think you should examine it for yourself. Easy it is to accuse a person like me because we are the ones presenting information of being A, B, C, and D. I'm not a part of no secret organization, never have. Kasari never will be. Hallelujah. Do you understand? So don't misperceive me to think I'm some one of these guys. Why would I be sharing the knowledge? It's a living God I'm talking about. Some people are not educated in the symbolism that they're speaking of. Something is trying to interfere. Lots of people aren't aware of the symbolism that they're using. And so ignorance will sometimes supersede behaviors. But you must awake to it and don't be caught up in it and think everybody's talking about Luciferianic things because we're speaking in a language which you do not completely understand. I'm telling you the truth. The celestial fire, Hashe, is the source of being. The living God expresses through the celestial fire which burns sootless. The atomic fire burns and leaves a heavy trail of soot, destructive gases, poisons, toxins. How could that be the source of being? What utter nonsense and whole of crack. Come to truth and truthful understanding. Be blissed by the eternal light. Not every word I present came off in the right order, but it is these opposing forces that fight the truth. Tasari. But pick through the remnants of my spoken word, and you will find modicums of actual truth filled up in between the projected confusion through linguistical misappropriations of terms and terminologies. Denoted the information I'm given, connoted is little inferences that is trying to slip through. That's why I try to correct them by correcting the parts of speech and the timing in which the speech is delivered so that you can understand there are interferences. But hear me clearly. A lot of these symbols are the symbols of the corporation. And they are the symbols that are holding people to the sigil magic, these curses, which attract the dark forces through sin and the antimatter that is in the being, opening portals to Lucifer, opening portals to the end of age, trying to bring a destruction on this plane. But the celestial lights that alight your being will resonate and destroy the darkness because it is the light of his being.